What's going on, everybody? You know, there are some videos that I'm excited to make, and there are some videos that I'm really excited to make. This is one of the really excited videos. This this video has been 30 years in the making. Now, anybody who's watched this channel for very long knows that since I was a little kid, like 10. See, I was one of those kids that went to a lot of card shows growing up, and big card shows. One of the biggest card shows in the country every year was in San Francisco. I went to that every Labor Day weekend. I went to a big show in Anaheim. We went to a lot of West Coast shows. And as soon as my dad got involved in cards, I started spending a lot more time around the vintage dealers and the vintage tables and up in that area. And I started to have a fondness for a few cards. And I've talked about them. And if you've been around very long, you know what they are. It's the 1957 Topps Brooks Robinson rookie card. First, why that one? Why these three? But let's start with that one. For one of the things that I admire a lot are guys that are good people. They're good humans. They're real role models. They're not the guys like a lot of the athletes nowadays that are constantly holding out and trying to squeeze an extra dime or two, and it's all about them. The guys that were the real role models back in the day, the guys who maybe they served their country, maybe they signed extra autographs, maybe they just had smiles on their faces and were happy-go-lucky humans. When they would go to card shows, they were friendly with the fans that came up. Brooks Robinson fits that mold. You know, Brooks Robinson passed away about a year ago, and he was signing autographs through the mail for free all the way up to very close to his death. In fact, I sent away a TTM to him, and I got it back about 2 months before he passed away. So I know for a fact he was signing up to about 2 months before he died. And he just refused to stop, even though he was obviously aging and obviously dealing with health issues. Brooks Robinson is a great guy. Now, another reason I love that card is because I love the cards that are a snapshot in time and tell a story, that are a beautiful image. And we look at that card of Brooks Robinson, it looks like he's about 15 years old. And he's a guy who spent all these years with that same team, and it's captured in the picture. Love that card. Another card that's been a long-time favorite card of mine is the 1954 Topps Ernie Banks. Now, that's probably the one I talked about the most. Why did I talk about that one the most? Was it my favorite of the three? Probably. I don't know. It's red, white, and blue. It's another young photo of an awesome guy in Ernie Banks. A guy who spent years and years and years around the ballpark after he retired. A guy who you'd watch the Chicago Cubs telecast that we all got growing up, and he would be hanging out at the ballpark all the time at those Wrigley Day games. And how could you not like Ernie Banks and that smile and that positivity that was just overwhelming? And again, it's a beautiful card. The third card that I wanted since I was like 10 years old, maybe 14, maybe 12, somewhere in there. I don't know the date that I started wanting it, but is the Yogi Berra, the 48 Bowman Yogi Berra. Now, the fact that it's black and white, I know turns some people off. Doesn't turn me off. It's like an Ansel Adams photo to me. It's a gorgeous card. And again, it's a young Yogi. Now, this is a guy who served his country. This is a guy who fought during D-Day. He was an active soldier on D-Day. He was a likable guy. He won 2 handfuls of rings and then some. He won MVPs. I got to meet him a few times. Met him at a card show in about 2000. And when I met him at the card show, super nice guy. I rode in an elevator with him and his wife. Stayed across the hallway from him in Tampa in about, right around 2002, 2003. The guy would wear a full uniform to the field when he was like 80 years old out on spring training. Such an awesome guy. Who doesn't like Yogi? Who doesn't like Brooks Robinson, Ernie Banks, and Yogi Berra? They're likable guys. They're great players. They're some of the all-time greats. And the images on the cards are fantastic. Well, if we go back to the beginning of the year, the beginning of 2024, I had 0 of those 3 cards. And I talked about them all the time. And then in June, something happened. Let me remind you. Here's the card. So here are the 3 cards. And the first one that I picked up is on the left there. And I did a whole video on it. But man, to think how far we've come in the last 3 months. So the first pickup was this card. The beautiful 1959 Brooks Robinson. The card it's stunning. It's got great eye appeal for me. Some people might see it and go, that's not for me. This one is for me. This is the one. It's a beautiful PSA 5. He's got the old school Orioles cap on that they brought back actually in the, the early 90s. They started using that for a few years again. It's got a super clean back to it. Just absolutely love the card. And this was the first of the 3. Just look at his youth. Look at how young he looks. And then it's the year before that, 58, with the interesting photo. Love that card. You know, one of the things that's really funny is I didn't expect, for the first of these 3, I knew I would eventually get the cards. I knew that at some point this would happen. But I didn't know that one of them I would trade for. You know, if you really think about it, if you are a vintage card collector, vintage, now we're talking, older cards, 50s, 60s, and before, there's really 3 main ways to acquire a card, right? You could trade for a card, you could buy a card, or you could be gifted a card. Now, some people would say, well, you could pull a card from a pack, and I guess that's possible, but there aren't a lot of 1948 Bowman packs laying around, or 54 Topps or 57 Topps, and if there are, they're not going to be in my price range, so that's likely not going to happen. So those are really the 3 ways that you could acquire a card to add to your collection. And the thought that I would get a Brooks Robinson this year, didn't expect it. And the thought that it would happen via a trade, that didn't seem possible. So thrilled to have that card. It's a beautiful card. Thrilled with the trade, a total win-win deal. I could put a link to the video down below on that trade that I made and that process. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Again, I'll put it in the description down below. But then, recently, in July, something else happened. Let's take a quick reminder at what happened in July. Check this out. So, the Brooks Robinson, the check mark is in and it has been acquired, which meant I had 2 to go. So that first one I obtained via a trade. And was it going to be the Banks or the Berra next? Well, it was the Banks. This is
my favorite Ernie Banks rookie card I've ever seen. Doesn't mean it's the best one, but it's my favorite one. And the centering is fantastic. The color is fantastic. The corners are fantastic. Any better than this as far as condition, and it wouldn't seem like a vintage card to me. You can see the back there is super clean and gorgeous as well. And again, what a memory behind this acquisition. Just look at how awesome that image is. That old Cubs logo. Man, I love that card. So that one happened in July.
I got the Banks. The Banks that everybody was on me. You got to buy the Banks. You got to buy the Banks. And I did. I bought it at the National. So not only do I have this amazing card that I got from a friend dealer, Ash, and I was surrounded by so many of my hobby friends and my dad on my shoulder, and I picked up my Banks. And I picked it up in a purchase. It wasn't as expensive as it should have been because the dealer did me a major solid. So here I am, back in April, May, I didn't have any of the 3 cards. And then here I am now in July. And in July, I have the Brooks Robinson, which I got in a trade. And I got the Ernie Banks, where I'm surrounded by friends and family. It's a beautiful card at an incredibly good deal. An amazing memory. Well, you're not going to believe it. Check out what just happened.
So, check mark goes to the Banks, and that left 1. Again, we've got the Brooks with a trade, the Banks with a purchase, and all that was left was the Yogi Berra rookie card. Well, guess what I just got? This incredibly stunning 1948 Bowman Yogi Berra rookie card. It is so sharp. The edges are so clean. It's got such great centering. It's in a phenomenal SGC 5. The back is super clean. And it's my Berra. It's the card I've been looking for. I mean, look at that thing. It is such a gorgeous card. He's got the swing there. He's got his Yankee cap on. I mean, this guy is a legend. And it's just amazing to me that after over 30 years of wanting these cards, the trio is complete. It's crazy.
What a gorgeous Yogi Berra rookie card. In 3 months, I picked up all 3 cards. And get this, in all 3 ways. This is going to sound crazy because it is. I was gifted that card. Now, the person who gave it to me, I'm not going to mention their name. They know who they are. It is a friend of mine. It is a member of Midlife Nation. It is a person who enjoys the channel. And it's probably not someone who almost any of you know. I'll just say that. But what a gift. What generosity has this community had? I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, I just got the chill. I just got the chills again. I'm an emotional guy, I guess. But it's it's crazy how generous this community is. Every single day I turn on a video and somebody is sharing a gift that they received. Somebody is sharing something that somebody sent them. And I don't advertise when I send stuff to people, but I've sent some things to people, and honestly, I get really excited. I get more excited to see the text or the call or whatever from the person who received an item that I sent them than I am when it's a mail day for something for me. Unless it's a Yogi Berra rookie card that is stunning in a 5. That probably takes the cake. But how amazing. How amazing is this community? How amazing is this group of people? You know, we have this world that we live in, and there's so much negativity. And here it was, right about 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago right now, I'm like, I finally made the decision. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I want to build a community of collectors. And I'll be honest with you, of the channels that I subscribe to right now, I may be subscribed to 3 of them at the time. I didn't even know a lot of these channels existed. I didn't have friends that were YouTube guys that had YouTube channels. I went in blind. It was like a blind date. I just walked into the room and looked around to see if I could figure out who it was that I was supposed to be hanging out with. I had no idea. And I had absolutely no idea that it would be a community of such awesome people. Now, yeah, Greg, it's real easy for you to say it's a community of awesome people. Somebody just gave you an amazing card, a card you've been dreaming to have for 30 years. No, that's true. But this didn't confirm for me what I already knew, that this is an amazing community. That's not what this did. This is an example of the community. My advice, and something I'm going to continue to try to do, is keep that going. Keep that positivity going, guys, because there's enough negativity in this world to bring us down. Let's not let it happen. Let's use this hobby to continue to spread joy and kindness and giving and positivity, and not let that other nonsense get in the way, especially this time in the political season when so much can get us down and so much can get us frustrated and so much can get us upset. Let's turn away from that. Let's stay focused on the tremendous community that we're in. I have an amazing group of friends. I have an amazing family. I'm such a blessed person. This gift is an example of the blessings that continue to happen in my life. And who would have thought? Who would have thought that 4 months ago, I didn't have any of these cards? In June, I got the Brooks Robinson in a trade. In July, I got the Ernie Banks in a purchase at the National with a ton of this community with me. And then in August, I'm given the third of the cards that I've been talking about and talking about and talking about. And it's gorgeous. How gorgeous are these 3 5s? All of them 5s. How gorgeous are those 3 cards? When I was a kid thinking about I'd like to have one someday, I didn't think any of the 3 would look anywhere near as nice as those 3 cards do. Man, what a crazy summer from my card collection. Absolutely unbelievable. Let me know what you think.